Okay, good day to all. We are talking about the African literature represented by me, and let's start. The literature of Africa is traditionally oral and composed of writing in the language of Afro-Asiatic and also dialects of Africa, together with the works of Africans in Europeans dialect. Their traditional composed writing is more strict to be more humble and geographic territory, while oral writing is generally typical for the society of Sub-Saharan, most especially to those who were interested in the way of life of the Mediterranean. There is composed of writing written in both Hausa and Arabic made by the researchers. In the northern Nigeria and Somali people created customary composed writing. Additional written works by the two dialects of Ethiopia, the Ethiopic and Amharic, in which single piece of Africa. The example of literary works and writers are Things Fall Apart, 1958, written by the Chinua Achebe, probably the most remarkable works of 20th century. It is an overpowering depiction of the struggle between standard genealogical qualities and the impacts of pioneer run the show fair as the weight among the masculinity and womanliness in significantly male-centric social disorders. The second literary works is The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born, 1968, written by Ai Kwei Arma, it's Arma. His works are known for being bizarre, groundbreaking representations of political annihilation and social disappointment. His works were fundamentally influenced by French existential researchers, for instance, Jean-Paul Sartre and Albert Camus, and such hold subjects of despair, impeded desire, and frenzy. His well-known work, The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born, rotates around an unknown legend who attempts to be the fathom himself of his country in the wake of the post-opportunity. Literary works in Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie were known for character-driven, entangling the foundation of the people in Nigeria and her political occasions into the account. Her most known work are her tale Purpose Hibiscus 2003 is a Bildungs roman, and it portrays the experience of Camille's education and also her family during the military officer. Her latest work, Americana 2013, is a skillful representation of Nigerian migrant life in America and the Western world. With that, the significance of the country to the other parts of the world East Africans composing isn't noteworthy, essentially since of its appropriate setting and relatable storylines. It, moreover, extends our social cognizance and brings issues to the light of social, political, and money-related crisis that African landmass is going up against African. African writing has two influences interestingly affected the world. Despite the emergencies the nation is confronting, it has formed and taken portion in making the world's writing what is nowadays. Local people of the nation protected their writing and passed it on from era to era for the world to see that indeed even through the nation confronting emergencies still can go with the changes and protect what is genuinely theirs. That's all.
Hi guys, so I'm Justin Alviar. For today, we are going to tackle about the Philippine literature. Let's go. Philippine literature has undergone periods and has grown over the centuries. Different genres emerged with each time that has passed, and these literary works were rooted in all regions expressing their history, society, and lifestyle. Also, the diversity and complexity of the literature of the Philippines grew side by side with the past of the region. In the sense of the pre-colonial cultural practices of the nation and the socio-political backgrounds of its colonial and current traditions, this may be better understood. So let's start off with the pre-colonial period. Pre-colonial period, or during the 1564 BC. This existed before the Spanish occupation in the early 1500s, and the pre-colonial inhabitants of our islands showcased a rich past through their folk speeches, folk songs, folk narratives, and indigenous rituals. It is an accepted opinion that during the reign of Michael Lopez de Legazpi, the first Spanish Governor-General of the Philippines. Example of literature that they have: religious literature, secular or non-religious, and revolutionary literature. So, during the American colonial period, their writing specifically portrayed their zeal for the nation and their aspiration for liberty. With the firm establishment of English as the medium of instruction in all schools, and with the literary modernism, during the American age, literature was treated as an imitation of the American style. Students ended up adopting the shape of American poets. Instead of challenging the students to compose originals, the public school system was introduced. Example of the works are poet, drama, and remake novels. There are several literary developments that were adopted in the 21st century by the Filipinos. Nowadays, even those with no substantial literary experience use the opportunity they have to compose and communicate their own style. With those said period of eras of the Philippine literature, life goes on and the world begins to undergo a true historical transformation. Eventually, leaving its mark on literature by altering socio-economic, political, spiritual, and artistic principles. Therefore, the writer must be a man with historical tendencies, and the example of these, the two most legendary Filipino authors. First up is Jessica H. Dorn, who is best known for the 1990 novel Dog Eaters. Jessica H. Dorn was born and raised in the Philippines and relocated to San Francisco in her teenage years. Next up is the famous Nick Joaquin, who won on the winning the National Artist Award for Literature. Nick Joaquin is probably the most esteemed writer in the Philippines that has produced lots of novels. And his book, The Woman with Two Novels, is essential reading in the Philippine literature. However, many of his short stories, such as Mayday Eve, are extremely accessible and enjoyable for the new to the Philippines. The significance of the country's literature to our community and the world is in Western culture. The influence of literature is undeniable. Some books mimic culture and help us to better understand the society in which we live. Via their novels, we are conveniently linked to the author's psyche. Literature, however, still reiterates the need to consider problems in the contemporary times, such as human strife. Literature is a representation of humanity and the means for us to comprehend one another. We may begin to work out how this human feels by listening to one person's speech. I think that literature is important because of its intent and that novels establish a dialogue in a culture that is becoming increasingly disconnected from human contact.